Alright, hello! Hello everyone! Oops, my bad. Keep cleaning up. How is everyone doing? I literally got home a few minutes ago. That's why I started the stream a little late today. But tired. I'm tired of the life. But how is everyone doing? Amazing. Great. I don't know. I'm just gonna do an off-rating stream. Great. I don't think so. I decided to just make my title in German. Well, I did learn German back in high school, but Spanish. I wonder if this is a testament if I spoke in pure German. No, I wanted to. I have learned German when I was in high school, and I want to see if it's good. So I'm not sure. I saw my analytics that some people from Germany do speak English, and I wanted to see if I still remember. If I still remember it. Well, how are you, son? Are you feeling better? I don't know, the last time you were here. Yeah. I stopped learning the languages that I need to learn. I want to get back, but I haven't had the time because I've been working a lot and going to my uni for like so I haven't had the time to, because I'm learning Japanese, Italian, Chinese. I'm relearning German, so that's 5 languages. Yeah, I'm only those. Trying to it's not fully, but I'm learning bit by. Oh, Korean! I forgot Korean as well. But I don't know why I forgot. Did I say Korean? I don't know. I've been out a bit. Chinese. Ooh. Well, I wish you luck on both. Especially with Chinese and French. That's not German. Ah, I see. Source. Christian Post. Mission 9. I don't know. My pronunciation in German and any other language outside of English sucks. Like, I want to get better at that, but it's kind of killing me. I'm good. I'm trying to write a whole novel in German. Even though I don't remember much from high school. And it's been like 4 years? No. 4 years? I'm trying to write in deep. At least when I try to remember it. It's gonna be tough. Until I start to stream a little later than I tried to stream earlier, but things keep pushing it later, so I do apologize. Hopefully I'll be able to stream much earlier Friday. I don't think I have been. Okay, so it'll be in the morning. For me, I'm not sure for you. Yeah. Yeah, I usually streamed before my schedule changed. It is 3:28 p.m. Yeah, 3:28 right now. Good. No, I usually stream. I start streaming hopefully around like 5:30, if earlier, and then I usually end it close to 12. Or at least push it to 12 p.m. That's usually my Friday stream. And then Monday and Wednesday, like today, is whatever I can earliest come home to. So it's pushing. Ooh. Yep, I'm actually hold on. What am I throwing up? I started I'm not sure if I wanted to post this one on the art shop or not though. Cause I don't think it's up to scuff. At least to me. It's similar to the monster beefy monster one. The latest one on my art shop. And oh, I did post another art piece, but that's behind the membership. I think the first tier membership is underneath that one. I have been doing. That's right. I haven't posted it. I'm kind of disgusted. Not disgusted. What's the word? I'm about to. I'll show you. I'm showing you what I'm trying to touch on. Shades. Really? I'm glad. Nothing? It's fine. You don't have to like it. me a second, I'm trying to find it. Latest one. I'm going to show you the one I'm touching up, actually. I just haven't had. Maybe I do that Friday. Maybe I. The thing about me is I suck at reference sheets. Because none of my art pieces can like so this is the one I am always making big wide. Size it a little bit up. So this is the one I'm finally touching up. I haven't touched in a week. I'm almost, at least I feel like I'm almost done. So I was planning to post it before I able to stream, but I was like, it's gonna take a while. I'm just gonna start streaming. So I'm gonna post it. But I'm not sure where I'm gonna post it at. If I want to do it underneath memberships, or just do it like a regular art shop thing. I don't know. Maybe towards the art shop, but I'm not sure. The hardest thing for me, because I did too many white dots, so I'm trying to make them blend into like the background and within the reds as well. That's why it's kind of took me a long time. I couldn't find the sauce how to like blend it together. So. It's amazing. Well, thank you. I don't know how I should price this though. That's my other problem. I don't know how to price this. I mean, I do, but not really. I have a like. It took me how many days I worked. If I include today, it'll be 5 days. And all the hours per day I took was like what? 3 to 4 hours to do for the 5 days. I'm just retouching up for I final submit. few drawings in the frame, but I'm deciding what. It's whatever you want, dude. It's whatever you want it to be in. I'm still shocked that people still, at least someone out there likes my art. But I thought, to me, for the longest time, I thought my art was like disgusting, revolting, and stuff. So, like, to have someone that likes it, it's like very new. The concept is still new to me. But I'm still thinking I can grow. So Friday stream, I'm gonna try to make Cyber Sad into my art style. It is strange, but we'll get started. Really? Alright. Someone out there, like, I have that. Interesting. I don't know what I want to make next. I want to make something fluffy-esque. Not to this extreme or the other one, the last one I posted. I want to make something creepy, but not like so creep. I want to have some fluff to this. Like simplicity, a little bit. Really? Okay, just for you, I make it creepy. But I don't know what type of concept I want to go for. Because none of my illustrations has a certain concept, it's just whatever I wanted to draw. And I don't know until the end. I have, even for myself, have an idea of what I'm drawing. I never really know what I'm drawing. Because I don't use references, I don't use pictures or anything. I wish I could see your perspective of creepy. I don't have, well, it's not creepy-esque. If I'm being honest, a lot of people say it's creepy. Like this, what I have on the screen is like, to them, is like creepy to them. I guess. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see, hold on. Yeah, because the people, like my mom, my dad, like some of my friends was like, this is like creepy, kind of. I am gonna post a link. Now this is my other art. This is my other art. My art station, I have two. I have Diva Art, and then I have Art Station. It's practically the same. It's just on different platforms. But really? Yeah. That Art Station was the first. Let me remove this one. Art Station was the first art online platform I choose, and then I didn't know. Only recently opened up a Deviant Art to spread around my art creativity. But yeah. Like the very first one, I didn't have my tablet. This is just a regular tablet. This is not even a drawing tablet. But before I was able to get my tablet, which was on my birthday, because it was a birthday gift to me, I only knew your fucking. Well, I don't really promote. I don't like really shoving it to people's down their throats. That's why I don't really promote it as much, even though I think I should. But I don't like the idea of me like constantly shoving it down your throat. Oh, I have this page. Oh, I have, I have an art shop. Oh, I have this. I have that. I don't like that. I will be annoyed. So I don't really promote it. I don't mind promoting it. It's just I don't want to be like extreme with it. So I only give if you ask, type of thing. No, I don't mean. No. Say so. Say so. Say so. Say so, people. Thank you. I don't think so. Thank you. Because again, I only recently, like last year, went back to art. After 5 years of not drawing at all. So, in this last year, because I got my phone has a S Pen, so I'm able to draw on my phone if I can't. If I don't have like my tablet with me, I can just draw on my phone. I have the same app on my phone as doing my tablet for my drawing app. So. It can go both ways. almost done with this one. Almost done with the touch-ups, and then I'm gonna, what's it? Should I put it on the shop or put it underneath membership? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't realize you have membership now. Yeah. I only have 2 tiers. The first tier is this $1 a month, and the other one is $5 a month. I try to make my prices reasonable, not unreasonable. For the next one, I'm just going to make a video time lapse. But I need to learn how to edit videos because I don't know actually how to. So I'm going to make a time lapse. And the next, maybe during Friday stream, I do that. So just make a video. 1 second. Almost done. One more strokes. 2 more strokes. We? What's we? Alright. Almost there. Get this written. I want to buy 3 pieces. No one's stopping you. Is it on the shop, or are you looking at the I can post. I haven't post. No, I think I post majority of the stuff that was mostly Preddle on the shop. Okay. Just tell me, hold on. I'm about to, post the one I'm doing right now, on ArtStation. So, I will let you know when you have to refresh it. I'm almost done. I'm gonna just post it. It's easier. Just let me know. I'll post unknown thing in Two-Face. Unknown thing in Two-Face. I forgot. Unknown. Two-Face. I know what Two-Face is. Unknown thing. I know what the Two-Face is. I forgot what is the unknown thing in Hue. I should really know what my art is, and I don't know. Man. Golden. I'm gonna put, yeah, I definitely need to put Two-Face on there. Two-Face. I do want to put, eventually, I don't care to finish, on there, I will order yellow. Definitely Two-Face though. And then, I don't know if I want to do the 3 phases. I'm not sure if I want to do the 3 phases. Put them on there. It looks cool, but I don't know what type of thing. I just did it as like a test, so I can like know the hues and stuff. Okay, hue is the ocean. That's hue. And then the unknown thing. What is the unknown thing? I don't know what that is. What is the unknown thing? Unknown Oh, okay. Unknown thing is the volcano. Okay. I see the 3. I can actually just do it now. I think I still have them as a file in my laptop. Give me a second. I put the 3 arts, since I know what they are now. I just picked Hue. Hue is live. I'm putting one by one. Hue is live, and then the next one I'm gonna do Two-Face, and then the last I'm gonna put 5 on. But the main 3 that you wanted, I'm just gonna put on the shop. I'm not gonna put underneath memberships. So Hue is on. I'm gonna add another one. As Two-Face. 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 Loading up. Two-Face. Let's see. You don't have to be. It's not a cult, by the way. Why would you think it's a cult? Legal cult? Well, I shouldn't say that either. Vets might be watching me as we speak. Oh. Not a cult. I have no reason to be a cult. I'm kind of too boring. I have to be charismatic. I think that's the unwritten rule. Two-Face is just up. Yep. That's right. Two-Face is up. And the last one was unknown thing. Thing. And all three is up. Really? I don't think so. All three is up. So whatever you want to do with them, do as you may. So I still wanna, I'm gonna put oh wait, I know I wanna put this one, that one, maybe that one. Maybe I put the hoodie. I should be uploading the one I'm finally touching up on my art store. I'm gonna do that. Oh wait, what? Right now. No, I did it. Oh. Red basket? What do you mean? You meant this? If you want red basket, here you go. It's right on you. I'm happy I had voice chat. Now that's a cult. That's a cult. That I have nothing to do with. Because it's not bread in basket. Shall not have to do anything with me. Nice. To load. Let's load. Please load. The closest thing. Oh, you want me to? Do you want me to put the bread basket in the Discord so you can, have a secret file somewhere? Not that I should know about, but I can post it in the Discord. Alright. Let me do that. I'm going to put underneath art. Because it is massive. Art. Where are you? Where are you, Art? There we go. Creative arts. And in the Discord. Oh my group. I'm glad to help. I am not your master. I am a streamer. I do not enslave my chat. No. I'm not a cult leader. No. I'm just a regular normie streamer. I'm nothing special. No! Don't do that. No, please. Please. I want you just to sleep. Watch some anime. Read some spicy tags if you must. And go to sleep. No dancing around the campfire. It's not fun. I was like, I want to actually hold on. I think I put it on Discord, but I might want to change my name, my Twitch name to Sinmei, for it's similar to my not safe for work hashtag art on my Twitter page. But I don't know how everyone's. I don't want to do it now. I want to do it close to October, for like Halloween and stuff. So I might do it. It kind of fits within my hashtag lore. Technically, at least one of them. Technically. Really? Isn't technically like slavery is because of the sin or the thought of sin? So I mean, it's not really far of a fetch, to be honest. At least I think you have to repent. So if you have to repent, are you technically in shackles until you repent? Then the shackles become free. The truth will set you free. That's how at least I think. I might think too overblown, but that's how I think. Homemade? I don't know what that means. Is that a word? Is that actually a word? I don't know. I'm too dumb. I'm too dumb. I'm not big brain. Human. Oh, okay. I can't wait. I can't wait when if I'm able to afford it, to start cutting down the months until I'm able to get my cut my assistant slave. What? I'm all these things? I thought it was just one thing. I can't wait when I get my commission. I ain't get the commission anyway. Well, thank you for stopping by, son. Be safe. And please don't test, around the campfire. It's not worth the effort. As a person who used to do that as a child, it is not fun. Barefooted, the ground hurts. It's not, it's not fun. Oh my god. No, not the campfire. No, go to sleep. You sleep. Eat and sleep and drink water. And sleep. I do not want to become a dominatrix again. I never was anyway, but I don't want the thought coming back to me. I can't do that. Not again. Hello! Hello, Dave. How you doing? I was telling Son, I think he already left though, that I don't want to be a dominatrix again. Cheeky as always. As long as you being yourself, that's all that matters. dominatrix. Again. Even though I technically I was asked to be one, I was like, I don't have it within me. Whatever they saw in me, I don't see. I don't see it. When I say that to people, a lot of people is like, what? People ask you to be like a dominatrix, a dummy mommy type of thing. It's like, I don't see that happening to you. I don't know why people ask you to be like that. I was like, I don't know either. Sorry, that was my iPad. Yeah. I don't know why people think I can. I mean, certainly it's not hard. At least I watched some YouTube videos on it. It's like, I mean, it's not really that hard. It's like, I think I'm too soft. Because when I was in high school, there was like a boy. My finger's itchy. We were just talking in story time, kind of type of thing. Random stories and stuff. Nothing too crazy. If you have any YouTube videos we can watch, but just something simple. But when I was in high school, there was a boy who asked me to hit them. I forgot where, but they asked me to hit them. And they brought rope. This might sound unbelievable, but they brought rope, and they brought like one of those like hand whips and stuff, and then it was like, oh, I can see you doing this. Can you help me with it? And I was like, I'm not that type of person. I don't know what you see in me, but I'm not that type of person. I'm sorry. And he was adamant about it. He was so adamant about it for like 3 months? 3-ish months? I was like, dude, I'm not here for that. I'm here to learn, hopefully, murder out of high school. We're not doing that. You say you consider yourself smart? I guess so. I don't mind going dumb, but I don't like hurting anyone. But if I had to hurt someone and people are willing to pay me, I might do it. If I'm being honest, but I don't know. I consider myself a money. Do I even see myself like one? Maybe like an older sister than anything. I think an older sister. Or like an auntie. I think that's how I see myself. Than an actual mother. Or like a mother-esque. I think an older sister or an auntie. I think I fell within that category. I don't think I fit into mom. Yeah, I think auntie is good. I think so. I think that's my core mental aesthetic? Not mental. But like aesthetically I'm going for. I don't know. What do you think I am? I want to know, because I don't know how people view me. I might say something that clearly does not fit within the lore of such tags. So, I don't know. Soft big sis suits you. Oh, okay. I don't think I can be the mommy type. I think sister. On this, the mom is where I can fall under. I think that fits me more. I don't. Yeah. Because technically, I am a big sister. Technically. So it's not really that far of a mark for me. I'm trying to... Is the reason why I'm doing such long pauses is because I'm trying to make sure all the art pieces I want to put on my art shop. I was doing now before I forget. Mercy. Ooh, I don't see. Even if I have the money and like update my stuff, I don't. Personally, I don't like ASMR. I don't like ASMR at all. Like, I don't like whispering. Like, that's one of my pet peeves in life. It's like whispering ASMR. Like, I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't watch it. I don't mind if people do it. I'm not gonna stop them. I just personally don't. I don't know. I don't like it though. Yeah, my voice is not naturally soft. And I don't think I can actually go soft. Soft. With it. But I don't think I will ever do an ASMR type of stream. Because I just don't like it. I never really do. I'm not a fan of it. You like it, you like it. I don't. I tried so hard, but I can't do it. It makes my ears bleed and I can't deal with it. No. Can't do it. Can't soften my voice. It is my voice is my voice. And that's about it. I can't do it. The type of voice I have, I don't even think I can soften it. It's not a big deal though. No, it's fine. It's fine. Let's see. Oh, it's fine. I think I'm just gonna watch. Well, it's the Gundam posted. But thank you. See you Friday. I stream this Friday. I'm not sure though. I stream really early Fridays. But hopefully I'm able to see you there. Thank you for coming. Be safe. And transfer. Gundam, it's a Gundam.
Say something really fast about inclusion.
What is that?
Seriously. And thanks to inclusion, I'm here. I wouldn't be here without inclusion.
Can we stop this cruel game?
Oh, it's San Diego Comic-Con. Ignore the fact that the rest of California has turned into the set of Mad Max.
To Venice Beach, scenes from what could be a disaster movie.
This was in downtown Los Angeles. Daylight.
Right.
And out of nowhere, you get socked by a 10-inch bolt.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
It's time for corporations to sell you MacGuffins. Marvel has released their big movie plans for the foreseeable future of Marvel Phase 5. The Fantastic Four, third time's the charm. The Avengers, something of Kang. Instead of it being an imposing alien, it's a black dude.
To introduce to you Kang the Conqueror, Mr. Jonathan Majors.
What the hell is even that?
And last but not least, the same year, 2 Avengers movies back to back, huh? Disney plans to launch the Secret War without the actual Avengers. This is doom written all over it. They would literally need to reboot the entire MCU because everybody in the Secret Wars that was important was dead. No, not even gonna go into comic lore. But not only that, the MCU is in full swing, baby. The Marvel Cinematic Universe that makes no sense. Well, duh! Disney is firing off on all cylinders, pumping out VFX-laden garbage, praying that they'll have a hit as big as Spider-Man No Way Home with $1 billion week. As we ignore the fact that most VFX artists don't want to work for Disney, or what they come out with is so obviously...
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Disney is doing great.
Next up, we got the She-Hulk trailer, trending number 6 on YouTube. I love when corporations get a push.
Wow! Jesus, what the hell, man?
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No! A normal amount of rage!
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely.
Look at She-Hulk. I love women that are masculine like men, while also hating men, while acting like men. Huzzah! I can't wait to pay a Twitter artist to draw me getting crushed by She-Hulk's creamy thighs. Nothing says the hero's journey like the student being better than the master, am I right? Could you imagine how good Star Wars would have been if Luke was already strong with the Force and able to use the Force like Rey? We wouldn't have needed Yoda.
You have so much more to learn. Yes!
So I'm clearly nailing it at all these things.
I'm jealous. Is that what I'm feeling?
Bruce Banner's emasculated Hulk that doesn't smash is all the rage with Zoomers that have very low testosterone counts. but a very high consumer bill on a certain site called Only. Edit that out, Stu. YouTube will literally flag me for even saying it because the site's ridiculous. Why actually speak to a woman when you could pay to see her feet? Oh my god. The MCU has seriously made me hate the Hulk, Stu. Remember how badass the Hulk was during World War Hulk? Remember that? You'll never, and I mean never, get that storyline. And if they do it, they're screwed. Oh wait, you're right, Stu. They did put World War Hulk in like one of those Thor movies, and it was so stupidly watered down. Move on. I hate the MCU. It is trash. Like, they literally take great ideas and then they a comic and throw it on a table and tell a screenwriter to fix it. I mean, really, how do you please emotional invalids in this day and age? You can't. You can't, because the people that are MCU and Disney fans, they're certifiable. Oh, what's that? Mama Susan is mad at me. I gotta keep it positive. Oh my God, Stu.
Jen, do your thing. God, I really like this outfit. I'm not proud of this.
Are those Jennifer Walters' feet? I give those 9 out of 10 for my wiki feet rating. And they saved the best for last. Daredevil's back. Yippee, hooray! I guess one Netflix Marvel show has survived Disneyism for sure. But the real question is, will Disney water it down? And I think they will. You're not going to get the bloody Daredevil we had before or the Punisher. But then again, I could be wrong. Disney needs to get subscriptions up. So they might just have like Disney for adults or something. Who knows? The day that happens, man, you know that we have reached moral decay. Next trailer is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I'm crying butterfly tears. Seriously, Stu, I have no idea what the hell is going on in this trailer. What is it about? It's epically shot. This trailer had to be flashy as hell because it conveys nothing. The only thing I got from it is Chadwick Boseman is dead, but we already know that. People are saying the Aztec guy... Wait, the Aztec guy is Namor, Stu. Are you serious? The Submariner is a Mayan? Now, like what? What? So is that... Just keep playing this, Stu, and edit all of this out. Make sure the video comes off very positive that I love the MCU. Okay, I looked into it. Namor is now Mayan. I love diversity for the sake of diversity. I don't know why I'm shocked. Netflix Resident Evil made Wesker a black father figure. Look out, our first glimpses of Ironheart. I am crying more butterfly tears. I'm sorry, Ironheart is a terrible character, Stu. She is terrible. Marvel literally lifted the idea of Ironheart from a Japanese porn film. I'm not even joking. And if you don't believe me, look it up. And her beginnings in the comic book, terrible. One of the worst comic book panels I've ever read. That was enough for me to say no more to Riri Williams. Is it still Riri Williams? Who cares? I don't care. I'm just keeping it 100. Ironheart is almost as whack as Miss Marvel, and you can quote me on that. Also, she steals Iron Man's suit. Like, great way to introduce a black superhero. So on one level, she's like psychotic. She's like, I'm going to be an astronaut. And the teacher's like, okay, honey, you can be what you want. And then Riri's like, no, you're supposed to tell me that I can't do this. So you inspire me to do something. And the teacher, it is one of the dumbest panels I've ever seen. Really, like, whoever's writing some of these Marvel things, they need to be fired. But whatever. So Riri convinces the teacher to basically tell her, like, that she can't be something, to stroke her weird oppression ego. Like, I don't know, bro. And then Riri goes, I'm going to be Tony Stark, and steals his suit. It was almost as offensive as Miles Morales is Black Thor, because that's how Marvel sees people of color. And if you think they see it any other way, then I'm not even going to say it. Not even going to say it, dude. Remember to edit this out, Stu. I swear to Christ. You go, girl, Riri Williams. And finally, Shuri is the Black Panther. She's also the smartest person on Earth in the MCU because Kevin Feige said so, and he's God. Shuri being the Black Panther is almost laughable. The girl's built like Gumby. Have you seen her arms? The girl has bird bones. Like, she is a twig. I'm supposed to believe she's gonna put on this suit and she's gonna be super strong and stuff. Well, I guess the suit compensates for you. Like, that's the only logical thing. Even though I really don't remember that being the case in the comics, but whatever. It's the MCU. The suit's basically the Iron Man suit. And the fact that people are praising this trailer, all right? I remember most of y'all on Twitter telling Chadwick Boseman to step down so Shuri could become the Black Panther. These people are hateful and sick. When he was alive, everybody's like, stop being the Black Panther. You should give it to Shuri. It's time for a black woman. I swear to Christ, I'm watching something. These people are nuts. They're nuts. They're certifiable, like I said before. Then Chadwick Boseman dies, right? The whole time the dude hid having cancer. He put on the bravest face. This dude's doing chemo and whatnot while people are telling him he should die so Shuri could be the Black Panther. And he doesn't say a damn thing. That is strength of character. I'd have been the first one to be like, I had cancer, mother. I would have been like, I'm dying. You hateful. So he drops dead, right? And all of a sudden, people switch from trying to cancel him on Twitter, from blocking a black woman from being the Black Panther, to loving his ass. Like overnight. Like Chadwick Boseman dies. He was hiding that he had cancer. And everybody's like, oh my God, Wakanda forever. He's the Black Panther. I'm like, nah, you the same people who wished him dead. You people are sick. But as I said before, the MCU fans and the Disney fans are emotional invalids. These people are literal vampire potbelly goblins, and they're hobbling around and coming after us. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be positive. Wakanda forever. Honest to God, I don't know what I'll do when this movie comes out, but I'm 100% sure I will enjoy every minute of it because it's fantastic. Oh my God. I wish I saved the tweet.
Two. A battle. You do that. Or not. Oh, that's it.
Office Suite UC from Windstream.
As we all know, history hasn't exactly been the kindest place to women who want to embrace freedom and pursue their own goals. But every so often, a strong, independent woman would emerge and shake polite, male-dominated society to its core. And occasionally, a woman would emerge who would take these things to the extreme. A woman who travelled across the land, carving out a path of fiery destruction, sword-fighting men and winning, and making a name for herself while being fueled by nothing other than absolute horniness. Julie Daubeny, also known as La Maupin. Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. But before we get started, it is in fact your boy, Raid Shadow Legends. With millions of champion combinations from differing a huge series of Summer Splash events for the whole month, where you can get hands on a bunch of stuff like 50 XP brews 30 days, and you can find these rewards here in your inbox. We got up to might be somewhat exaggerated in places. I'm not telling you to take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt, but just bear in mind that when someone has a reputation for being theatrical and larger than life, word tends to travel through unreliable narrators, which kinda muddles the timeline a bit and makes the story a bit larger than life. With that said, what we do know is that Julie was born in France, which is a shame. She grew up in Versailles at the royal stables because her father Gaston, yes, that really was his name, was the secretary to the king's master of horse, the Comte d'Armagnac. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's French, who cares? Now, the stables may not sound like the kind of place for a young child to grow up, but these were no ordinary stables. These were the royal stables. This place wasn't just a filthy Jesus hotel, but a fucking gigantic and fancy place that employed over 1,000 people that kept the stock fit and healthy for His Majesty's microwave meals. Needless to say, Julie's dad was in a pretty good position in high society, so Julie received a high-quality education in reading, writing, horse riding, and the standard women stuff like sewing, drawing, singing, and dancing. However, in addition to working for the Master of Horse, Julie's dad was also in charge of training court pages, so Julie went to school with the boys, and amongst other things, she learned the joys of gambling, drinking, and fencing. And Julie became very, very good at fencing. Despite being the only girl at the all-boys school and also being the teacher's daughter, Julie actually got on very well with all of the boys. Perhaps a little too well. Yes, to the shock of mall ninjas everywhere, studying the blade did not stop Julie from getting laid. However, her dad was allegedly very unhappy about this and had a habit of dueling all of her suitors.
He's right outside.
He is?
Yeah, he wanted to meet you. Officially.
All right. Bring him in.
However, despite her dad's best efforts, Julie eventually got into a relationship that he couldn't do anything about. Julie decided to make a 4D chess move and started fucking her dad's boss. That's right, Julie became the Comte's mistress at the age of 14. The Comte was in his 40s, married with 14 kids, the oldest of whom was a decade older than Julie, and he was now having an affair with a 14-year-old girl. Because French. Now, that sounds bad, and it is, so you will be glad to know that this affair was very controversial. Unfortunately, not for the reason that you would think. The scandal that arose from this wasn't because of the adultery or because of Julie's age, it was because she wasn't married. Because adultery is a sin. Sometimes. Because apparently in France, cheating on your spouse with a literal child is completely fine as long as you put someone else's ring on it first. Because French. So yeah, the Comte was quick to find Julie a husband in order to protect his good name. However, some sources say that Julie was married off by her father, who hoped that setting her up with the most boring man he could find would calm her down a bit. Either way, every attempt that was made to rein Julie in failed miserably. Now, since a wedding is a very monumental and life-changing event, I should probably tell you all about Julie's new husband. However, all we really know about him is his name, Sieur de Maupain. I know that sounds odd because, after all, you would expect the man that Julie married to have a pretty big presence in her life, but the truth is, he was just a formality. It was just a complete marriage of convenience. Sieur de Maupain was basically just there to tick a box. Just not Julie's box. I know that all of this sounds very stupid and absurd, but it was actually a very common thing back then. Courtly love was Such a complicated and confusing mess of rules, norms, infidelity, cuckoldry, and romantic copium that the only way I can explain it without making this video 3 hours long is because French. If you've ever wondered why Lancelot is considered a hero for fucking Guinevere behind King Arthur's back in some of the stories and then he's villainized for it in others, that's why. Courtly love is a very, very complicated thing. Julie's husband was so irrelevant that as soon as the Comte arranged for Sieur de Maupain and Julie to tie the knot, the Comte immediately sent him off to collect taxes in the south of France so he could have time with Julie uninterrupted, with the occasional break to spoil her with expensive gifts. But in a way, karma ended up on Maupin's side because things didn't last very long for the pervert that orchestrated this entire thing. Considering the fact that the Comte was so insistent on Julie having a husband to cheat on, what happened next should be no surprise. She got bored and cheated on the Comte. Julie left the high life in Versailles behind her and ran away on an adventure with a fencing instructor named Seranes, who was fleeing Paris after killing someone in an illegal duel. The two went on the run together across the country, and Seranes gave Julie some extra fencing training as they went. Now, I know that it's this whole cliche thing where the girl runs off with the bad boy and they have a bunch of adventures, and in the end, he's not a bad boy anymore because she fixed him. Well, Julie didn't have any intention of that whatsoever, because it turns out that Julie was actually a lot more unhinged than Seranes was. Considering the couple's situation, it should come as no surprise that they were completely broke. So they scraped up a living by putting on fencing shows in taverns and fairs while travelling from town to town. The shows were a pretty simple spectacle in which Seranes and Julie would show off their skills in swordsmanship, and Julie would also sing to the crowd, all while dressed in men's clothing because fighting is easier in trousers. However, this often led to a bit of friction with the crowd, and hecklers would accuse Julie of being a man, because there is just no way that a woman could be that skilled with a sword. In order to prove to them that she was a woman, Julie would rip her blouse open and get them out for the lads. However, despite the accusations of being a man, Julie eventually remembered that she was a strong, independent woman, and after only 2 months on the road, she gradually got bored of Seranes and then unceremoniously ditched him. At this point, Julie...
Alright, everyone, let's go!
To those dedicated to making an impact in the world, Chamberlain University is committed to you with the relentless support you need to step forward.
Complexion Rescue looks like foundation, acts like skincare. It does a job of my moisturizer, sunscreen, and skin tint. I gotta have the SPF.
It gives my skin a luminous finish.
Share your best skin.
Julie was pretty much done with men for a while, but that doesn't mean that she struck it out entirely on her own. It was quite the opposite, in fact. It turned out that Julie was also quite a hit with the ladies, as she quickly began a romance with the daughter of a merchant. However, the girl's parents didn't approve of their daughter's new girlfriend because, despite the fact they were French, this was still the 1600s. So they sent their daughter to a convent, because stopping your daughter's burgeoning homosexuality by locking her in a building full of sexually repressed women is a great plan. What could possibly go wrong? It turns out quite a fucking lot, actually, but not in the way that you think. Julie missed her girlfriend and wanted her back, so she disguised herself as a nun, infiltrated the convent, even going as far as taking the holy vows and everything, just to be with her girlfriend. But, as you would expect, the arrangement was only temporary. After all, nuns are a bit of a buzzkill when you're used to a life of adventure. So, Julie and her girlfriend hatched a plan to escape. As luck would have it, An elderly nun in the convent had recently died. So Julie took her body, put it in her girlfriend's bed,
No, it's 5.
and then
It's
set the
5.
place on fire. Yeah. Julie
I don't sleep
burned
until
down
like
a convent to run
usually I
off
don't
into the
fall
night
asleep.
with her girlfriend and used the charred corpse of an old woman to cover her tracks.
11:30 at night.
That Catholic pussy got her acting unwise. The couple then spent 3 months on the road together, after which either Julie got bored, as she tended to do, or her girlfriend just got tired of being constantly on the run, so she went home, after which her parents went straight to the authorities. Julie was suddenly facing charges of arson, body snatching, and kidnapping. In a convent, no less.
Yeah.
Bizarrely,
Mondays and
Julie was
Wednesdays.
tried as a man, which might have been either to cover up the gay shit or the fact that they
Fridays
couldn't
will be
believe
always the same.
a woman
Unless
had
that
done all of
changes
this. In the end, Julie was
Mondays are
convicted
disabled.
and sentenced to burn at the stake. In absentia. Yeah, Julie was not there for any of the trial. I mean, why would she be? She had much better things to do, like dueling people. During her subsequent travels, Julie crossed paths with a gentleman called the Comte d'Albert, who, in thinking that Julie was a man, challenged her to a duel. Naturally, Julie eagerly accepted and impaled him through the shoulder. To fuck around as human, to find out as divine. The poor bastard couldn't have possibly predicted the outcome of that duel when he challenged Julie, because while getting a sword through your shoulder is pretty bad, he suddenly found himself in a very tight spot, both figuratively and literally. The following day, Julie felt very bad for impaling Albert and visited him to see how his recovery was going. And then she decided to let Albert impale her. Yeah, a lot more than just Albert's glove ended up on the floor because of that duel. Despite his loss, our boy seemed to have made such a good impression that he and Julie became a thing. But, as with Julie's other relationships, the tryst didn't last very long because Albert was eventually called back to his regiment. But the two parted on good terms and they remained lifelong friends with a bit of a casual on and off thing going on. Despite clearly having a hell of a time on the road, Julie couldn't run from the consequences of the convent incident forever, and eventually the charges hanging over her head became too much of a hindrance. But luckily, she had a way out. She was sleeping with an opera singer at the time. Now, I know that Julie's trip around the world in 80 lays has gotten her into some pretty wacky adventures, but how the hell could sleeping with an opera singer save her from the wrath of the church? Well, the opera singer in question was a rather famous baritone named Gabriel Vincent Thevenard, whose audition for the Paris Opera was accepted on the spot. On one condition, they also had to take Julie. But that begs the question, what can an opera company do to help a fugitive facing execution? Quite a lot, as it turns out, because their founder also happened to be Julie's biggest fan, King Louis XIV, and he was more than happy to help Julie out. Louis was very eager to do this because he and the church had a bit of a rocky relationship where they were locked in a bit of a power sharing arrangement while also being constantly at odds with each other. Therefore, Louis used artistic patronage to his advantage. He basically sponsored loads of artists to make himself look good and essentially bribed them into not making subversive or embarrassing material about him, while low-key making propaganda against the church. And with Julie's voice and notoriety, Louis couldn't have found a better candidate for his scheme to undermine the church. So he looked at her rap sheet and said, "Ha, based," and then he pardoned her. And then he gave her a job in the opera. Despite the fact that that she didn't have that much formal training, Julie was a great singer, and she made up for the fact that she couldn't read sheet music by being able to memorise her lines really quickly. She performed under the stage name of Mademoiselle Maupin, which was her husband's name, who she was still married to, by the way. And while he wasn't exactly in her life, Julie didn't call herself Miss to pretend that she was single. That's just what opera singers went by, regardless of their marital status. But anyway, Julie's background made her the perfect candidate for her first major role as Palla Athena, and then from there, her career took off almost instantly. She quickly became the first mezzo-soprano to land a leading role in a French opera, and she played a total of 41 parts throughout her career, which included 20 operas and many private performances for royalty and nobility in Versailles. Now, you may think that opera and classical music are just some stuffy, pretentious garbage that was made for posh old people, but back in the day, opera singers and composers were the rock stars of their time, whose behaviour would probably make even Led Zeppelin blush. Because French, and as you would expect, Julie was no exception. She became a pretty huge celebrity almost overnight, not just because of the acclaim she got for playing numerous heroic warrior women, but also due to her past and offstage behaviour. As you would expect, the audience absolutely loved Julie's wild antics, which reportedly included biting a co-star's cheek so hard that she drew blood. This was done on stage, by the way. Also, Julie had a rather interesting relationship with her co-stars, and she often fought with half of them while fucking the other half. I think it's safe to say that Julie was very well liked by her theatre company, especially after she handled one of the tenors, who had a reputation for being a bit of a degenerate with his female co-stars. One night, he set his sights on Julie, and he was very unhappy when she rejected his advances. So he said some heinous shit to her, where everyone nearby had to desperately prevent a duel because Julie was ready to smite the bastard right on the spot. So instead, Julie ambushed him in an alleyway on his way home, challenged him to a duel, and then beat the shit out of him with a cane when he tried to pussy out. And for good measure, she took his pocket watch and snuff box as he begged for mercy. The next day, the tenderised tenor was telling everyone all about how he got jumped by an entire gang of thieves that he valiantly tried to fight off. You know the standard, there was 10 of them, I battered every single one of them, blah blah blah, all that bullshit. Unfortunately for him, just as he was telling this story, that's when Julie arrived. She then announced to everyone that his story was complete absolute bullshit, and then to prove it, she gave him his stuff back in front of everyone. But how did she get away with all of this? It's not as if people were particularly accepting of Julie's sexual lifestyle in those days, and for the most part, they weren't. But Julie was in just the right time and place for her behaviour to go on unimpeded. You see, King Louis's brother, Philippe I, Duke of Orleans, was gay, and Louis couldn't exactly go after France's gay population without painting a target on his brother's back and, let's be real, arresting an entire country. So he just tolerated their existence. However, even this relative tolerance and having the king signing her paychecks would only get her so far. And eventually, Julie went too far. Since her career and social connections gave her a free pass in high society, Julie was present at a royal ball where she behaved like, well, Julie. As usual, she showed up in trousers and hit on everything that moved until she took a liking to one girl in particular. And then Julie kissed her right in front of 3 different guys who were all trying to court her. Naturally, the 3 dudes were very, very pissed off that Julie just stole their girl, so they demanded satisfaction. And then Julie dueled all three of them at once and won. Now, that sounds like a pretty standard night for Julie, who certainly thought as much because she just casually went back to the party, blissfully unaware of just how much trouble she'd gotten herself into. You see, Julie... Julie's little stunt here was a very big no-no. Not just because she had embarrassed three noblemen at a royal ball, but because dueling was very illegal. King Louis saw it as a petty and stupid waste of life. He also saw it as a personal affront to his authority because people were settling their own disputes through bloodshed instead of letting him deal with it. Now, pissing off the church was one thing, but this time Julie had crossed her biggest ally by breaking a law that was very, very important to him. So how could she possibly get out of this one? She was immediately pardoned. Yeah, Louis pardoned her anyway. Instead of enforcing his own rules and making Julie deal with the consequences of her actions, he pardoned her because, allegedly, after hearing that she defeated three men in a duel all at the same time, King Louis found that really fucking funny. So funny that he got her off on all of the charges because, technically, as written, the law only applied to men. However, some sources also say that Philippe, Louis's brother, actually convinced Louis to drop the charges. Either way, in the aftermath of that party, Julie somehow managed to get off in pretty much every sense of the word. Despite having finessed her way through that loophole, Julie fled the country anyway because while she was out of any legal trouble, the scandal was a bit too much for her to handle this time. But at least she was free, and not only was she free, but she was also out of France. She had the perfect opportunity to start a new life in a non-garbage country. So, where did she go? Did she seek out all of the men's Wiener Schnitzels in Germany? Did she cook it a pizza over in Italy? No, she went to Belgium. Fucking Belgium. She could have left France for anywhere in Europe, but she picked literally the only country that was a downgrade. While laying low in Brussels, Julie passed the time by having an affair with the Elector of Bavaria, Maximilian II Emmanuel, because it seemed like Julie and royalty are literally joined at the hip in many different ways. She also managed to continue her singing career because Dollar Store Paris had an opera scene where she played Carthage's favourite femcel, Queen Dido, in an opera about the Trojan hero Aeneas. However, Julie wasn't there for very long because while she was performing one night, she got to the suicide scene and actually stabbed herself with a fucking dagger. On purpose. She was very committed to the role. This little stunt then freaked out her boyfriend so much that he immediately broke up with her and gave her 40,000 francs to make sure that she stayed away from him. Julie was so insulted at being paid to fuck off that she threw the money at Maximilian's feet and went home in a huff. Then she picked up where she left off at the Paris Opera and just kept doing what she did best. Singing, screwing, and scrapping. At this point, Julie's craziest antics were more or less behind her, but she still had a little bit more anarchy to spread, as well as a couple of other things. For example, she attacked her landlord with a chunk of mutton that she stole from his kitchen because her lease didn't include meals. She allegedly tried to kill herself after being rejected by the hottest woman she'd ever seen, and she also threatened to blow the Duchess of Luxembourg's brains out for sleeping with Albert, the on-again, off-again boyfriend that she impaled that one time. And in 1701, she entered into a relationship with her most controversial partner yet. Her actual husband. Yeah, remember him. However, the reunion was only brief because in 1703, Julie met La Marquise de Florensac, who was described as the most beautiful woman in all of France. However, there seems to be a lot of women with that title. But anyway, La Marquise de Florensac was also a bit of a thought. So she and Julie had plenty in common, and they ended up falling deeply in love. So deep, in fact, that after a noncy sugar daddy, a husband, a nun, a prince, half a theatre company, and an absolutely heroic amount of trial and error, Julie finally found the one. She hung up her sword, and she settled down. But sadly, the domestic bliss only lasted for 2 years, because La Marquise de Florensac fell ill with what is believed to have been puerperal fever, and she died 2 days later. Having lost the love of her life so quickly and abruptly, Julie was absolutely devastated, and she immediately left the opera, where, in true Julie fashion, she sought comfort in the arms of one last man. The Lord. That's right. She joined a convent again. Julie actually became a nun for a second time, except this time it was for real. There was no
Step forward to change a life, to save a life.
No daring breakout, no inciting an orgy with her fellow nuns, and no fighting with anyone who looked at her funny. Julie had decided to retire and mend her broken heart in peace. Now, I know that forgiveness is a very powerful thing, but her first time in the confession booth must have been really awkward.
Personality? No, I don't think.
She also must have been in there for a very fucking long time. Unfortunately, Julie died just a couple of years after her retirement. In 1707, she passed away at the age of only 33, or 37, depending on who you ask. Despite the fact that this has a bit of a downer ending, it shouldn't come as a surprise that Julie's story has inspired numerous retellings over the years, including multiple plays, movies, a ballet, and most notably, a novel by Théophile Gautier called Mademoiselle de Maupin. While the book was inspired by Julie's life, the author basically just took some names and basic traits, turned the cross-dressing up to 11, and ended up writing a work of complete fiction with some Shakespeare and extra gay thrown in there for good measure. Ironically, most of Julie's actual story probably would never have happened if she hadn't got married just before her adventure started. This is because married women were generally much freer back then on account of the fact that they didn't have to worry about towing the line until they found a husband. Also, chastity just stops being a thing post-marriage for obvious reasons, and the French loved cheating on each other so much that at the time, no one really cared about all of Julie's affairs. While the mad lads that we talk about often don't have long shelf lives, it's crazy to think about just how much Julie managed to get up to in such a short space of time, especially considering how much the odds were stacked against her. It just goes to show that regardless of what those who would hold you back say, anything is possible with the right amount of willpower. I mean, a travelling, bisexual, sword-fighting, opera-singing, convent-burning noblewoman sounds insane by itself, but the fact that Julie managed to maintain such a lifestyle in a period where women weren't really allowed to have any aspirations beyond singing and getting pregnant, well, that's pretty damn impressive. And although she may have been a thought, at least she was a funny thought. And she is the only woman in history to earn the honorific title of Big Shagger. It's just a shame she was French.
I definitely need to add a character like that. Tell them.
Ranked one of the most bipartisan members of Congress, Mikey Sherrill gets things done. Sherrill passed bipartisan bills to help military veterans exposed to toxic pollution and bring millions in local improvements to North Jersey communities.
That is cool.
In criminal and forensic circles, people talk a lot about the perfect crime. A crime executed so flawlessly and so brilliantly that the perpetrators get away completely scot-free, and the police have not one single shred of evidence to work with, which makes catching the perpetrators completely impossible. You would think that such a crime would require a serious amount of planning and preparation to pull off. But it turns out that that might not always be the case. Because the crime we're going to talk about today is a murder. A murder carried out in broad daylight, right in front of 60 witnesses. Yet, the murder still remains unsolved. Because all 60 of these witnesses all said that they didn't see a thing. Now, how the hell did that happen? Let's talk about the murder of Ken Rex McElroy. But before we get into the mad lad, it is in fact your boy, Red Shadow Legends. The hottest game in the place, 34, and he was the 15th of a 16-child family. His parents made their living by travelling throughout Kansas and Missouri as tenant farmers. They eventually settled in a small town in northern Missouri called Skidmore, where Ken would stay for the rest of his life. Even when he was growing up, it was clear that Ken was destined for a life of delinquency. When he was just 15, Ken decided to just walk out of school, even though he was considered barely literate. He would spend much of his spare time hunting raccoons, not for a job or anything, he just really enjoyed killing them. But Ken soon realised that he needed to find a way to make some money. And quick. So Ken, in the tradition of many semi-literate dropouts, turned to theft. He mainly stole livestock, grain and alcohol from various farms and warehouses to then sell at a profit. And because Skidmore was a middle-of-nowhere part of Missouri, it was extremely easy for him to get away with all of these thefts and make some good money out of it. In fact, he made such a good living out of it that he was able to invest and supplement his income with more legitimate enterprises. He bred racing and hunting dogs, dealt in antiques, and he also leased out farmland that he eventually managed to acquire. He would routinely buy new pickup trucks, and he wouldn't face his first charge of livestock rustling until 1972. But even when he got charged with the various thefts that he committed, he would always be acquitted due to a lack of hard evidence. It was during these legal battles that Ken began to forge his thuggish reputation. In order to prevent people from going to the police, he would engage in some extreme intimidation tactics against witnesses. He would stalk his victims whilst openly armed, vandalise private property, and personally threaten other potential witnesses. There were also several instances where farm auctioneers knew for a fact that the livestock Ken was bringing in were 100% stolen. But they still let the sale go through anyway, due to them being so afraid of the retribution Ken would unleash upon them. In fact, Ken would go so far as to intimidate the police themselves. At one point, a marshal operating in the area actually made the decision to outright quit his job because of Ken.
Up at the bar one night, he caught me coming outside and pulled a gun out and was holding it there, and he asked me if I was going to testify against him. I told him I'd have to go over because I was a marshal. He said that he would believe in killing a man that wanted to put him in the pen for the rest of his life. And
were you frightened of him that night?
yeah, I sure was. Anytime you're looking at a gun, you don't know if he's going to shoot you or what he's even thinking. He may have just been trying to scare me, but he did the job.
The sheriff, instead of arresting Ken for, literally threatening a police officer with a firearm, just told the marshal that there was nothing they could do about it. What helped even less was the fact that there was no police station in Skidmore itself. The closest station was in a town about a 20-minute drive away. So when the police actually bothered to respond to one of Ken's rampages, they took so long to get there that Ken had all but vanished by the time an officer had arrived on the scene. So basically, everyone in Skidmore was completely alone and at Ken's mercy. Some believe...
New Jersey golfers, did you know the Northeast's biggest golf resort is in New Jersey? Manicured perfection awaits at Crystal Springs Resort with 6 spectacular courses, including New Jersey's #1 rated Ballyowen. Plus, stay a little longer and enjoy 2 resort hotels, 2 luxury spas, 9 unique dining venues, and the famous wine cellar of Restaurant La Tour. Easy to get to with the best rate guaranteed, and never any booking fees when you book direct at crystalgolfresort.com.
Firestone takes care of the cars that take care of all of us, whether it's making sure pizza night goes off without a hitch or making the neighborhood safer for everyone.
We help the people that help the people.
Firestone Complete Auto Care.
I believe that Ken's violent and erratic tendencies were the result of a head injury that he suffered during one of his only legitimate jobs as a construction worker. However, the more likely explanation is that Ken just simply wanted to be intimidating so that nobody would ever openly confront him. But it wasn't just the thuggish behaviour that Ken was well known for. He also had a reputation for being a bit of a womanizer. Though womanizer is probably the wrong word, because it wasn't really women that Ken was interested in. In his close circle of raccoon hunting friends, he was always noted as going after young meat, as they put it. Ken was known for approaching schoolgirls from the ages of 12 to 15, offering them gifts and giving them rides in his fancy new pickup trucks. He would deliberately target girls from low-income households, as they would be more easily swayed by his lavish displays of wealth. Ken actually married a woman when he was 18, but he eventually divorced her in order to start a harem with all of the girls that he managed to successfully groom. From here, he'd not only marry at least 4 of these young girls, but also go on to have 10 kids between them. Is everyone starting to understand why this isn't a Mad Lad video? So after hearing all of that, you'd think that Ken couldn't be more of a repugnant scumbag than he already was. But no, he in fact gets so much worse. Following true stereotypical redneck fashion, Ken McElroy also abused his underage partners in every way possible. He would threaten to kill the girls' parents if they didn't have sex with him. And when they did have sex, it was described as a deliberately violent and demeaning experience. He was also known to beat the girls severely whenever he got angry. And whenever the parents tried to rescue their children from his abuse, Ken would either attempt to bribe or threaten them into keeping quiet. So that pretty much sums up Ken in a nutshell. But I think the only way to show what he was really like is to go over the most infamous stories that we know about him. And the first of these stories is the Trina McLeod affair. Trina McLeod was a 12-year-old girl that Ken had first met when he was 35 years old, and he already had 2 young girls living with him at the time. In order for her parents to not suspect anything, Ken actually hired a boy to pretend that he was Trina's boyfriend, who would then escort her to Ken's house and back again. But eventually, Ken just ditched the cover act and just started picking up Trina from school himself. The school board later admitted that they had heard rumours about what was happening between Ken and Trina, but said that they didn't have enough evidence to act. I have a feeling that there was plenty of evidence, and the real reason that they didn't do anything is because the pussies were scared of Ken. When Trina was 14 years old, she fell pregnant with one of Ken's children. So Ken convinced her to drop out of school and move in with him, replacing one of the girls who had earlier left his Jimmy Savile Playboy mansion. Despite being pregnant, this didn't spare Trina from the regular beatings or molestations that she would receive from Ken. It got so bad that by the time Trina gave birth to her first child, both she and the other girl living with Ken fled to Trina's parents' house. However, Ken was able to track both of them down, and when Trina's parents were away from the house, Ken barged in and dragged the 2 girls back to his home. As punishment for this, Ken beat the other girl to a pulp and made Trina do humiliating strip dances and perform demeaning sex acts. Afterwards, he drove them back to Trina's parents' house and made them watch as he shot the family dog and burned the house down. However, things were potentially looking up for Trina when her baby had taken ill and went to a doctor. Throughout the checkup, the doctor noticed that Trina looked very distressed, and he managed to convince her to tell him what was wrong. After she told him everything that Ken had done to her, the doctor immediately contacted social services to place her and the baby into protective foster care. Ken, being the type of man to not let things go so easily, soon began to harass Trina and her new foster parents. He would stare into their house armed with a shotgun, and he would make frequent threatening phone calls. At one point, Ken even called the foster parents and offered them an exchange of girl for girl by heavily implying that he knew where the foster parents' own biological daughter went to school, and he would have made no issue of abducting her if he didn't get Trina back. By today's standards, this alone would have been more than enough to lock Ken up for criminal harassment. Unfortunately, Missouri state law didn't actually have a criminal charge for this at the time. So despite the foster parents repeatedly calling the police and telling them what was going on, the police said they couldn't do anything about it, as Ken wasn't invading their house, acting maliciously, or actively shooting at the property itself. It seems that at this point in history, the bar for the police to actually do something was set pretty damn high. The foster parents, despite all of the intimidation and threats that they got, never gave Trina up to Ken, though they could tell that the constant harassment was rapidly deteriorating Trina's mental health. After a whole year of this, it seemed that everything had been getting too much for Trina, and she announced to her foster parents that she decided to move in with her grandmother. Though this obviously made the foster parents very upset and also suspicious that Ken had some part in this, they couldn't force her to stay, and so they said their goodbyes. Upon reaching her grandmother's house, Trina then met back up with Ken and returned to his house shortly afterwards. As all of this was going on, Ken was facing serious charges for arson, assault, and statutory rape on the basis of Trina's testimony. He had managed to escape jail time for the first two charges by paying a $2,500 bail, but he still had the statutory rape charge hanging over his head. For the first time in his life, there was a serious chance of Ken actually going to jail for a long time. However, because Trina was now back living with Ken, he found a loophole. Marriage. At the time, key witnesses in Missouri criminal cases could not be compelled to testify if the defendant was closely related to them. And as Trina was the only key witness to the statutory rape charge, conducting a quick marriage ceremony would counter the prosecution's request to have Trina testify against Ken. So Ken did it. He managed to escape 3 serious charges through buying, intimidating, and marrying his way out of it. And you'd think that after barely saving himself from serious jail time, that he would be more careful as to how he acted in public. Nope. This leads us into our second story, which involved Ken's altercation with a local farmer called Romaine Henry. On the 27th of July 1976, Ken drove to Romaine's farmland and fired 2 shotgun blasts into the air. Upon hearing the shots, Romaine drove to the entrance of his farm to see what was going on, and there he encountered Ken standing just off the road of his property with a shotgun in his hands. Ken then proceeded to shout at Romaine and, without a hint of irony, accused Romaine of stalking. After Romaine had made a bewildered response to these allegations, Ken just pointed his shotgun at Romaine's stomach and fired.
He said, well, you're a lying SOB, and when he said that, well, then he more or less laid the barrel of that shotgun right against my stomach and pulled the trigger. And when he did, why, of course, it laid my flesh all open and blew my flesh into this door here.
Another shot hit Henry in the face. While the gunman was reloading, Henry managed to drive away.
Thankfully, Romaine's wounds weren't life-threatening, and he managed to drive away to safety when Ken's shotgun jammed. After the attack, the police were called and once again took Ken into custody. I mean, this time he had to get jailed. You couldn't get a more straightforward case if you tried. However, delays to the trial meant that for several months, Ken would continually harass and intimidate Romaine, as well as any other potential witnesses for the case. However, the trial eventually resumed, and Romaine managed to get 2 witnesses to back up his story. But Ken also had 2 witnesses. He managed to wrangle 2 of his raccoon hunting buddies to testify that he was actually with them during the time of the shooting. And because of this conflict of evidence, the jury felt that they had no other option than to acquit Ken of the charges. After the trial, Ken grew so brazen that he would publicly brag about how he managed to avoid prosecution, and that he was actually surprised that he didn't manage to kill Romaine to begin with.
When he shot the dirty son of a bitch, that was Romaine Henry, he thought he had him shot deep enough that he'd die before he got home.
He told you that?
He told me that himself just last winter. And his brother...
Why didn't you come forward?
What for? Why should I tell that when they made such a fool out of the man that they shot?
It's easy to get the impression that these cases were just another oversight of the Missouri justice system, and that Ken won his cases purely through luck and intimidation. But no, it turns out that he got some help, and the man who gave him that help was a lawyer called Richard McFadden. McFadden was a criminal defense lawyer based in Kansas City. He apparently had connections to the mob operating in the area, connections that, when asked about them, he didn't deny. So on those grounds, Ken was basically the perfect client for him. McFadden and Ken made a deal where Ken would pay $5,000 for each charge brought against him, and McFadden would employ every dirty tactic within the bounds of the law to get Ken out of jail. McFadden's common tactic would be to split charges into separate trials and constantly shift court venues and dates around. This would allow time for Ken to sort out things on his end, and it would enable McFadden to employ numerous legal technicalities to get Ken acquitted. So the numerous delays in the Romaine case were due to McFadden's deliberately obtuse scheduling, and Ken's decision to marry Trina to avoid the statutory rape charge was also thanks to McFadden's advice. In fact, McFadden was so proud of his little marriage scheme that he actually called up the prosecutor to gloat that he no longer had a case against Ken and that he had basically won. McFadden was Ken's go-to lawyer, and he would manage to get Ken acquitted from all of the 22 cases brought against him. However, there was eventually an incident that would not only end McFadden's winning streak, but spell the end of Ken's iron grip on the town of Skidmore. The incident in question was Ken's feud with an elderly couple called the Bowenkamps. Ernest and Lois Bowenkamp owned a convenience store in Skidmore and were both gearing up for retirement after having moved to the town in 1975. On the 25th of April 1980, several of Ken's kids made their routine trip to the Bowenkamp store. What happened next is slightly up for debate, but the story most commonly believed is that the Bowenkamps gently reminded the kids to pay for a bar of chocolate that they forgot to hand over to the counter. After this, the youngest girl cried and the group of kids all stormed out, swearing retribution upon the Bowenkamps. But according to the Bowenkamps' daughters, it was actually one of Ken's eldest daughters who initially grabbed the chocolate bar out of her younger sister's hands and told her that she couldn't have it, with the younger sister then crying about it. The older sister would have then told Ken that they were accused of shoplifting by the Bowenkamps in order to avoid being punished for making her sister cry. But regardless, Ken now apparently had a score to settle. So less than an hour later, he marched into the Bowenkamp store armed with a switchblade. And despite the initial heated confrontation, the Bowenkamps actually managed to explain the situation and calm Ken and Trina down. As a peace offering, Ken tried to order some cigarettes, but understandably furious about the scene his family had caused over nothing, Ernest Bowenkamp refused and told Ken that he and his family were no longer welcome at the shop. And so the feud began. Over the next few months, Ken would commit to his usual stalking tactics, but soon began escalating things further than ever before. He sent a letter offering $100 if Lewis and Trina fought each other in the street. He also started pulling up to the Bowenkamps' house to fire shotgun rounds just above the roof before driving back home again. The police were again called and again offered no help, as these actions were still apparently not enough to get Ken in jail. In fact, a Nodaway County Sheriff called Robert Cronk even promised to forward the Bowenkamp's report to the prosecutor, only to completely go back on his promise and not even record the incident to begin with. Tensions finally reached their peak on the 8th of July 1980, when Ernest was cutting up boxes at the rear entrance of his store. Ken confronted Ernest and began pointing a shotgun at him. Ernest began moving away from Ken, and just at that moment, Ken pulled the trigger.
While I was looking down the double-barrel shotgun. And I thought to myself, now is he going to shoot or is he just going to scare me? So I thought if he was going to shoot, I better dodge over. So I dodged over just in time. He got against my neck. And that's all that story, because I was out the rest of the time.
Thankfully, Ernest managed to survive this attack because the shotgun blast just grazed his neck, and he managed to recover in hospital from the trauma and blood loss. The police immediately knew who to look for and started hunting Ken down. They eventually caught him and brought him to court to face the charge of assault. I think trying to blow someone away with a shotgun is a bit more than assault, but whatever. Despite all of McFadden's usual attempts to delay court proceedings and Ken's usual intimidation of witnesses, on the 25th of June 1981, the jury made a decision. Guilty. The jury found him guilty. Ken, after all these years, was finally going to jail. However, there was a catch. Because there was no official record of Ken's intimidating behaviour or history of violence. Now, how the hell was that? Well, it's because despite the hundreds of times the townsfolk had reported him to the police just decided not to record any of these incidents, which is why there was no record of Ken's history. And because of this, the jury only settled on a 2-year sentence. And what was worse is that McFadden arranged for an appeal, and the judge had agreed to extend Ken's bail until the retrial. The town was still stuck with him. A few days after his sentencing, Ken walked into a bar that he frequently visited in the town called the D&G Tavern, while carrying an M1 Garand with an affixed bayonet. He then proceeded to load the gun and graphically document to the surrounding patrons as to how he was going to shoot and gut Ernest like a turkey for getting him sent to jail. This obviously directly violated Ken's bail conditions, and a few of the townspeople submitted a written account to the prosecutor detailing what had happened. Despite the prosecutor trying his best to lock Ken up right away, since Ken's retrial was in just 5 days, the court decided there was no point in locking him up now, and they should just wait the 5 days. But thanks to McFadden's interference, that 5-day wait turned into a 10-day wait, when the court announced another delay to the appeal on the 10th of July 1981. The townspeople got so frightened that a group of 60 locals met at the town hall to discuss how they could best protect themselves and the witnesses. A county sheriff called Danny Estes agreed to drive over from Maryville to advise the townspeople on the best legal way to do this. Apparently, Ken caught wind of what was happening, so he deliberately drove by the town hall before parking his truck outside the D&G bar to further intimidate the townspeople and generally gloat about his continued freedom. After what seemed to be an unproductive meeting, the townspeople began to leave the hall and the sheriff drove back to his office in Maryville. When the sheriff had gone, the townspeople then flooded into the D&G Tavern, as they knew that's where Ken was. What happened next was about an hour's worth of tense observation of Ken by the Skidmore residents. Some tried to pretend that they were just there to order some drinks, whilst others were so transfixed out of fear and anger that they just stood there and stared at him. Eventually, Ken decided it was time to go home, so he ordered a 6-pack of beer for the road and escorted Trina back to his truck, walking through the massive crowd of residents outside the bar. Ken was smirking at all of them as he walked through them, because he knew how angry they all were that he was still free. And I think it was this smirk that was the last straw. Ken got into his truck and was just about to light a cigarette when several shots were fired and Ken slumped over onto the wheel. Dead. Nice. Seemingly out of nowhere, a random person in the crowd had aimed a rifle and fired at Ken whilst he was sitting in the truck. In fact, there may have been more than one shooter involved, as casings from a German World War I rifle and a revolver were found at the scene. Despite Trina being present at the shooting, screaming at the crowd to call an ambulance, the townsfolk refused. And by the time the police arrived, all the townsfolk had scattered home. A year-long investigation was then conducted by state and federal criminal investigators to determine who was responsible for killing Ken McElroy. However, despite there being 35 primary leads and 100 interviews conducted, with 60 of those interviews being of the townsfolk who were physically right there in the crowd, every single one of them said, "I didn't see who shot him." Some of them were even bold enough to say, "What shooting? I didn't see no shooting." The only person interviewed who claimed to know the identity of the shooter was Ken's wife, Trina. Now, how can that be? How can that be? How can none of them have saw who killed Ken McElroy? Well, it's because they're all fucking lying. You know every single one of them are lying. They were all looking right at Ken as he gets shot, and you know for a fact that when he got shot, every single one of them would have turned around to see who did it, right? Not a single person in that crowd thought to themselves, well, it looks like Ken's being murdered right in front of me by a man standing right beside me, but I can't think of a good enough reason to look to my left right now. Liability couldn't even be placed on all 60 of the townsfolk collectively, as Sheriff Estes testified that the prospect of killing Ken didn't exactly come up during the town meeting, thus absolving the group of a conspiracy charge. But you know for a fact that after the meeting, when they were all watching Ken drinking in the bar, you know there was some conspiring going on. Though Trina named a farmer called Del Clement as the man responsible for the shooting, though there could have been multiple shooters, Del Clement was the only one she actually seen. There was no corroborating evidence or witness testimony to back up this claim. The witnesses probably screwed with the feds to protect Del Clement, being like, okay, I didn't see who killed Ken McElroy because I was far too busy looking at Del Clement, who was standing there doing absolutely nothing and definitely not killing Ken McElroy. Okay, I know that sounds strange. I know it sounds strange that I would be more focused on a man who was doing absolutely nothing and definitely doing absolutely nothing, instead of focusing on the man who is literally murdering someone right next to me. That sounds really strange, I know. But all we remember from that day is that Del Clement definitely did nothing. Isn't that right, boys? Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, officer. I wish we could be of more help. So, in 1982, the federal and state authorities had no choice but to close the case without a conviction. This wasn't the end of legal action entirely, however. In 1984, and on behalf of Trina, McFadden sued Sheriff Estes, the local county, and Del Clement for $5 million in compensation for wrongful death caused by civil negligence. All parties agreed to a settlement of $17,600 on the condition that nobody was attributed blame for the killing. Those paying up denied any kind of cover-up and instead argued that paying the $17,000 was much cheaper than defending themselves in an ultimately futile case. What's quite strange is that despite all of the torment that Ken had quite clearly put her through, Trina was more than willing to stick up for him after his death. Stockholm Syndrome is a very real thing.
I've known him all my life, besides the 7 years I've been married with him, and he was never that way. He never caused no trouble with nobody. You know, he was a good man.
What about the bone camps?
I wasn't with him that day. You know, I couldn't answer for that. I do know it was self-defense.
His wife, Trina, is either his third or fourth wife. They began seeing each other 10 years ago when she was 14. At 16, she accused him of rape.
Yes, he was charged with it, but it's not true.
You brought the charge against him?
Yes, and it's not true.
Why did you do it?
Jealousy. I was jealous over him, but it's not true. He never had to do anything like that in the first place.
Though it would be extremely easy to pin this on some kind of personal misjudgment or lust for money, it's worth remembering that many victims of domestic abuse tend to form a kind of emotional dependency on their abusers, even years after being in a relationship with them. I think this is probably the best explanation for why Trina acted in the way that she did, leading up to and after Ken's death. What's less excusable, meanwhile, is Ken's lawyer continuing to stick up for him. McFadden would defend Ken as a good and honest man who was simply misunderstood and vilified by his local community. Oh, the poor wee baby. Prick.
Ken Rex McElroy was a perfect gentleman. He was a good client.
He sure needed a lawyer an awful lot.
Yes, and I asked him about that, and he said, well, it's a set of circumstances. He says they're trying to get me, they're harassing me. I didn't do it.
But he did have a reputation for violence. He was known as the Jesse James of Northwest Missouri.
I have heard him called the Jesse James of the northwest part of Missouri. That is correct.
Well, he wasn't. So he might not have been the perfect gentleman that you just said he was.
I say only in his relationship with me. He was a fearless type person.
If that isn't enough to showcase what an actual scumbag this guy was, there was a book called In Broad Daylight, written by the author Harry McLean. In this book, McLean exposed all of the dirty tactics McFadden used to get Ken out of jail for his numerous crimes. Instead of feeling ashamed or humiliated about it, McFadden actually got McLean to personally sign numerous copies of the book and sent one to each and every member of the Missouri state legislators. Until his death, McFadden embraced the hatred he got and saw it as a compliment to his skill as a lawyer. No, you were just a giant piece of shit. As for the townspeople's reaction to Ken's murder, they couldn't have been happier. And when they were asked about why they seemed so disinterested in bringing Ken's murderer to justice, one of the townsfolk gave this amazing quote. "Nobody tries to hang a scientist for finding a way to kill a germ." Best. However, there are some townspeople who disagreed with what happened. They were still in favour of Ken getting killed, but they decried the fact that it happened in broad daylight so publicly. They believe that the shooting tainted the reputation of the town forever and that the killers should have gone about it in a more subtle way. I mean, like, really? Really, like, yeah, we want him dead, but, you know, don't do it in a way that makes the town look bad. Think about what it might do to tourism. The town of Skidmore was in noticeable decline even when Ken was still around, but it has decayed even more since his death. There are no amenities, schools, or even gas stations in the area, and the population has decreased from around 400 to less than 300 over the past few decades. Many people attribute this decline to the dark blot on the town's reputation that Ken's unsolved murder had brought about. They felt that the murder had become the town's dirty little secret. But in reality, the town's real reason for failing is simply due to more young people migrating to more developed parts of Missouri or to other states entirely. What's truly amazing about this story isn't how awful Ken was or how much the legal system completely failed to protect the residents of Skidmore. What is truly amazing is that without any prior collusion, at least that we know of, an entire town, without saying a word to each other, all agreed to say absolutely nothing about what they saw.
How come no witnesses?
Everybody died for cover?
At least 5 shots fired.
Depends who you talk to.
Are you surprised that there are no witnesses?
No. No.
Those who were actually there and witnessed the event take particular offence whenever the media frames the murder as a vigilante killing. They prefer to frame the murder as a result of law and order completely breaking down and the only means of keeping their community safe from a dangerous and potentially murderous psychopath. It really shows that when law and order completely breaks down, people who would ordinarily be peaceful and law-abiding citizens will turn to extreme measures when they have been repeatedly let down by the system that they believed would protect them from people like Ken. There has, of course, been a number of movies, books, and documentaries made, all attempting to uncover the secret of what really happened outside the D&G tavern that day. None of them have gotten any closer to the truth, and the residents of the town are clearly more than happy to keep it that way. I'm not, though. I would like to know the identity of who did it. Not because I want to see the guy's reputation ruined or see him thrown in jail. I just want to buy the man a drink.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.
I mean, I understand that, like, they should take their medicine and stuff. Of course not. Even to the worst, I don't see the eye for an eye, teeth for a tooth mentality, even at the worstest, because technically you're no different than them if you do the same exact thing. That's the whole point. But, I don't know. I don't know. It just, it's fun, but it's still, like, get a good feeling that, you know, the bully got his piece, let's say. I'm trying to word this So it makes sense. I don't know. I'm just dumb. What do I know? So let's see. Sonia! Great Sonia. She is an artist. She is currently... Yeah, actually, see. Let me actually see. She is drawing one of the new Misojo from Japan. I forgot her bird name, but she used to work underneath Hololive, I think. Blue? Bluish purple hair, I think that's her. I forgot her name. But I'm gonna read her. Hopefully, be streaming earlier some Friday, and I will do my art stream Friday and stuff, and talk about weird stuff as a mean.